distortion? Am I holding it far enough away that I sound okay? Is this good? Hold it closer. A little bit more volume? Alright. So when I saw this in middle school, I think this is the best rap album ever. But tonight, it's actually a warning. I'm going to be talking about things that may offend you. So if you're easily offended, earmuffs. And bear with me, because I'm talking about the words that we don't say, ethnic slurs, and things that are a little bit difficult to deal with. This starts kind of strangely. This year, I went from student teaching in Boulder to taking an actual job at Thornton High School, which is a very diverse place. It's 67% Latino and 95% white teacher. And that presents a lot of issues. Now, the kids there come from lower income families, they have a very different culture, and the language that we hear is not always the most, well, white bread, where I grew up. You hear a lot of the N-word coming out of Latinx and Hispanic people. And I was really confused because I was asking kids not to say it, trying to create this safe space, and I was wondering, am I really creating a white space by asking them? It's my right to take that away from them. So I decided to do a little research with my students. We started watching videos about whether or not it was okay for Mexican people, Latino people, to say the N-word. And what I found actually surprised me, because there's this history of oppression and marginalization that they share in a way that I didn't realize. Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, they marched with Martin Luther King, they fought for the same civil rights. All of these things they share. And this history actually means that a lot of black people think that, yes, they can use the N-word. I'm still white, I'm still Jewish, I can't. They can. But that means my asking them to not do it is this really kind of strange place. And then when you start looking at the culture that they've adopted, they share hip-hop music. Lin-Manuel Miranda penned Hamilton, which is all about people of color in U.S. history. These are things that they share. Now, I've gotten about halfway through this presentation right now, and I have yet to really talk about Judaism. So I'm going to bring it back around, and I'm going to take a step back to what people say about us. Because when I was in high school, I of course listened to Snoop Dogg and was dropping the N-word and singing along, and I realized very quickly this was not okay. I had friends who were angry at me about this. So my friends and I, talking about this, because we had a diverse group, found Goldberg. Goldberg, here's this big Jewish dude wrestling. And wrestling is a place where there are a lot of these ethnic stereotypes. So we're like, all right, we're going to use these ethnic stereotypes and we're going to really reclaim this stuff. So like the Iron Sheik, I decided I'm going to take it as far as I can. I'm going to be like that badass Jew. And my friend Max Lipschultz and I decided that we were going to form a wrestling team called the Flying Kikes. And we had special moves, the penny pinch, the Jew down. So I started doing research, like what could we do? Kike, Yid, Heave, Sheeny, Shylock, Jap, Heine. All of these words are out there, but you don't hear them said. We really don't experience this. So I was thinking about it, and School Ties, of course, used the word kike for the first time and threw it out there, so I started to research. Leo Rothstein said that kike comes from Ellis Island, where people who were uneducated and couldn't sign their name would sign a circle because they didn't want to put a cross, too Christian. Now, have you heard of an uneducated Jew? Because I really haven't. That's not a really good theory. There are two other theories out there. There is the idea that it was Jew-on-Jew violence, that some Jews didn't like the Polish Jews and said ski or sky. More likely it was Isaac becoming Ike, becoming Ikey Kikey, and that became kike. So this is the more likely origin. Now, other people have already reclaimed terms. In Tottenham Hotspur, the soccer team, they have a very orthodox community, and the people who liked the games would go to the games, get yelled at as Yids, so they decided they're the Yid army. That's their reclamation. They're supporting their community. We've reclaimed Heave. This showed up in college. I was like, sweet. Sarah Silverman, Jonah Hill, all the irreverent humor that Jews have used for years, we're now reclaiming this. But we still haven't reclaimed kike, and I couldn't tell why. Now, Google has actually a pretty good answer. They did some research this year, and they sent out this AI to find out what language was on the internet. And they found out that both gay and Jew are negative terms. We aren't even getting to the slurs. We're talking about the actual term for us that we identify with. Now, Louis C.K., I know it's a little bit timely, I'm sorry. He said that Jew is the only term that is both the appropriate term for people and an ethnic slur. And to point this out, we have this history of marginalization as well. In fact, If you think about what was going on with Gary Moore, his wife said that they're not bigots because they have a Jewish lawyer. So, little bit you there. So what I'd like to leave you with is this. In the past, we have stood with all of these people who have been trying to create this space and who have been reclaiming these other terms. And perhaps it's not my place to reclaim a term, but just to stand with them and make sure that they can reclaim a space that's good for them. And hopefully you guys can help with that as well. Thank you.